Then I'll mute my mic on this side. Whoa. How's that?
Yeah, that was that.
Oh, shit. We'll see what it's doing is it's picking up me up twice. There we go. No, it's not echoing no more, right? Not echoing anymore? I can hear you, but I don't know if my stream can hear you. All right. All right, let's see. Can you say something on your end? It ain't working. Damn it. I had to shut off. Damn it. Nope. Huh. Yo.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, it's not working the way I wanted it to, so
Well, you're testing. You're just experimenting. No problem.
yeah.
Were you listening to the music?
Yeah,
It's pretty good music, dude. Love Antenna One, Antenna It's
right,
easy for people to it's easy for people to remember. You know, the number one radio station is Antenna The
right.
first antenna to pick up the signal, it wins the market.
It's actually
You
working
know,
now. With one stream going, and then I'm using the secondary phone to pick you up, and I'm just using its camera or its microphone to pick up both of us.
well, good. So you're streaming on StreamYard, or you
Yeah,
have like an audience? Can you see if there are people there that are able to listen to this co-production here today on Monday, September 2nd in 2024? It's the Free for All September, and we're on the Power of Islands podcast. I'm the host, David the Indian, here with my buddy here, Christopher, who also goes by Janice, and so we're having just an open live stream. This is September for every day in September, starting yesterday, September 1st on Sunday. We had a marathon of about 10 hours of podcast episodes and different interviews with a variety of different people. It was a very interesting day, such a diverse group, and so like-minded and like-hearted people, really caring about our humanity and the preservation of what it is to be a human being, and whatever that is, in whatever shape or form it takes in the physical. We know that we're all connected, and
right,
that's what this is all about. This month of September is the free for all month for us to be in unity and really have the gratitude for to the creator, call it God, call it energy, whatever you want, but just being alive, to be in the physical body in the year 2024 is miraculous. For everyone on earth, some 8 billion people or so, don't know the exact number, but literally everyone on earth, we are all valuable life forms and conscious beings, and all have purpose and meaning in our lives, no matter what. Everyone is relevant. Everyone is significant. Everyone has a full potential to do things. Like even in my life, being the president of the United States of America, the 47th president, is a dream. It's beyond what dream. It's not even. It's not a. It's not like a possession or some type of addiction. For me, it's actually. I don't want to say a curse, but quite honestly, if you look at financial benefits outside of being the president, I can make a lot more impact financially in my life. At 60 years old, now all of the education that I invested in myself and other people, my mentors, some of the greatest people I've ever met in my life, and also authors and filmmakers and people in theater and performance, acting, Hollywood, Las Vegas, Trump International, these large projects for hotels and resorts and casinos. And so these are the things that, we're here on this month of September. It's about a sharing of an openness with no reservation or hesitation or resistance, just to flow, and we can, in this month of September, we can actually initiate the Article 5 process in the U.S. and actually open up the convention in October. And so the whole month of October would be debates that we would be holding in all of the universities and all over the globe. It'd be a lot of different locations, not just in the United States, because
right,
Article 5 constitutional amendment for every constitution to have the ability to make modifications to the laws as society expands and whatever the complexity or the simplicity of society. We need to build all of that into the total intelligence that we have when we plan like these smart cities or these 15-minute communities, and call it whatever you want. But some of those limitations as far as distance in the travel, we are breaking the barriers in sound and light. We're actually traveling faster than the speed of light. So what that means is that we are in the darkness, and then we come. It's like an invisible man that just, or
From out of the darkness and into the light.
Exactly. Yeah, but the darkness is not like a, it's not like a Freudian, like black box theory.
No.
Like fear and like the skeletons in the closet and all of these things that we think we're like cursed.
No, it's not.
We have to repent and we have to cleanse ourselves and all of this other stuff. And that's not the reality. The reality is we are innocent, all of us, until we prove ourselves guilty. And if you do something and you confess to it and say, you know what, I made a really bad mistake. But if you take somebody else's life or something and you get like an assault weapon or something, like a weapon, and you go and kill people, not yourself, like you kill other people, that's like capital punishment. If you kill anybody, you don't deserve to be alive. You're just taking life. And that's a behavior that.
What about killing somebody spiritually, or that's the same thing, right?
Oh, absolutely worse.
Yeah.
I talk about two fears that we have, Christopher, in life. We have two root fears. The first one is what everyone would agree is death.
Yeah.
Just the idea that we're not going to be around anymore is fearful. It's like, what the fuck's going on with that?
Right.
So that's the fear, is death. But what really we find is that the next fear is the worst of all, because it carries into almost everything you do in your life.
Yeah.
And that's the fear of looking like a fool.
A spiritual
like
death.
An idiot. It's a spiritual death, because your relevancy, your worth is nothing. The community excommunicated you. You went through the bankruptcy court and divorce court and every court, and you lost your credit. You're a bum. You're living in the streets or on the beaches in Florida or whatever in California. You're just a bum. You're just the white trash. You have no purpose and meaning. And these are lots of people that's the
what?
condition right now. Not only in the United States, are nomads. People are nomads, like virtual nomads now. The people that are successful that I know are people that work like out of their house or in their car or at the airport, or they don't go to like a job. There's no, like, once in a while you go to a retreat or like a workshop, like a company pep rally or something like that.
Right.
But you don't actually work with these co-workers in person. You do video conference calls and other ways that we can gather the intelligence. Like even this recording here, you're live streaming supposedly, and we're in 2 different channels. If we, over the course of this next month here in September, if we can link up like 10 podcasts in other channels like bloggers and other social media content people, YouTubers and what have you, and create that multimedia center, which is a virtual 99%. Nobody really needs to come here, physically.
Right.
Most work is sound, a lot of sound engineering, and basically just cleaning up the resonance, the tone, the basically the energy wave that we're transmitting. It's just so much static, and there's so much radiation and other interference in the signal. It's not perfect, and we can make it perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And we have that technology, and God's willing to allow us to do this on behalf of humanity. And so that we're not overthrowing. It's not like a coup against the forces of evil. It's not like a Star Wars, the good and bad type of story that we try to tell, to try to scare the hell out of people. Quite honestly,
right?
I mean, to think that you're going to be fighting, some evil for your whole existence. I mean, at some point there's got to be a declaration of, surrender or something. And if both parties just surrender and say, let's just be, that's the spiritual respect that we have for ourselves, first of all.
Yep.
That's really what the word selfish is not a bad word, but we apply it as being like egotistical and possessive and narcissistic and, these other, mental, emotional, sabotage, basically. And so, but now we understand that everything comes from ourselves, that we are a reflection of the reality outside of us. So if you're living in horror and there's all sorts of rejection, like I said, first fear is death, and the second fear is rejection, with being like a fool or an idiot or somebody that people can't trust, with no integrity, like an outcast, like a misfit, or somebody that's a geek, like a geek, or a bully, or
Yeah.
sissy, or gay guy, or transvestite, or the discrimination just goes. Everyone's discriminated.
Yeah.
If there's no unity, that the definition of not unity is discrimination. That's what makes it not unity. Is that one
Separation.
that one bad apple that spoils everything. It's the 1% of the people in the world controlling 99% of behavior.
Yep.
That doesn't work. You can't be that way. If everyone is responsible for their responses and their reactions in their life, and if the community is there to help them, like we can, not just our own family and stuff. Everyone in a village is, indigenously, you respect everyone.
Right.
And somebody has a child, they're having a child for the whole. It's not just your aunt and uncle and the genes directly. It's in a village. Everyone participates in the birth and in celebrations and tradition, and it's very interesting. One of the guys that was on the show yesterday, his name is Wayne Snellgrove, and Wayne is a Canadian Indian. But he didn't realize that he was actually Indian at all, because in the 1960s, the Canadian Department of Interior for the Indigenous people there in Canada went into the reservations and scooped up. It's called the 60s scoop. And in the 1960s, they went into these reservations and stole all the kids from the mothers, like all the newborn children. He never saw his mother. And so he grew up and was adopted in the United States, actually grew up in Massachusetts and spent quite a bit of time in Florida. And so Wayne Snellgrove is a real, I don't want to even say like an American patriot, because really his nationality is in his heritage is Indian. I forget in the tribe. It's, I think, in British Columbia on the Pacific side of Canada. And so, anyways, Wayne spoke yesterday. Actually, I've made an offer, not an offer, but I begged and plead with Wayne to be the vice president of the United States of America as my running mate for the Unity Party Global, in representing the indigenous people. And now my relationship in Sierra Leone with the African Americans and basically Africans, the black people, all that goes along with that. So, the campaign that we're running is in an ideal moment. I don't know if it ever gets any better. The window of opportunity for this transition from these two parties, left and right, to a center, a balance, a harmony, including the left and right. Even the extreme left and right can be transformed, as long as they are benefiting through wealth. We don't have like a sickness against assets and commodities and inventoriables and things related to accountability and fiscal responsibility and what have you. what we talk about is that responsibility, accountability, to be able to bring some of the social services also for immigration and these foreigners, and helping foreign governments especially to make those different nations as perfect in harmony as we possibly can. And
Right.
that's perfection. It's about the perfection and the target of having zero tolerance, to have judicial systems and legislation that is like with the Article 5 every 20 years or so. This Article 5 was expected to be invoked since 1776, or I don't know exactly. I think it's 1776. My history. I mean, I'm running for the president of the United States, and you'd think that I'd be on top of the history, like incredible, but it's impossible. The history of the United States. I go in and out of Washington D.C. in years past. I haven't been traveling much at all since 2010, and for reasons that I describe, I do have a lawsuit right now against the state of Florida in a Whistleblowers Act with the FBI,
Wow.
the ACLU. Yeah, I have over 1,000-page affidavit. I do all my own forensics and legal. I represent myself. I don't have an attorney. Nobody would take me. I've had over 100 interviews and depositions, and literally the people, they don't talk to me after.
Hmm.
They don't call me. It's right. I mean, it's like, and I don't mind that, because in that silence, then I have my own. I'm not distracted. If I was working with legal advisors and stuff, like right now, as running as the president of the United States, if I was being bombarded by all of these people, I would be so stressed out. And that's not unity. I don't need to be overwhelmed, and as a particular figure like the president of the United States, that's a job just like any other job, bro. You go
Right.
to work, you represent the American people and the safety of the world with nuclear disarmament. We start to disarm. We don't need these type of, and they're not even the most sophisticated. We know that we can kill each other much more simply. We don't have to kill the whole planet. We can target everyone individually and just fry you, like the whole population. We're all got graphene in our bodies, and we can turn up the volume like a microwave oven.
Right.
And so you're done. You're done. We're already being microwaved. Even that technology of a microwave oven, even when it's not on in your house, it's emitting. And also even your cell phone is emitting these microwaves. And these are hazardous, especially for like men, for like prostate problems. So I'm told. So we don't want to be within 1 meter from the phone. We need these devices like not really attached to us. We need them close enough where we can access and have clarity, and enjoy the content. It's wonderful to have these devices like this podcast right now is not really costing us. It indirectly, there's certain costs with the telecom that we have here in Brazil to be able to even access the internet. It's through the local phone company.
Right.
So we have, you buy a plan based on data, and that's basically what we're also offering. I'm a utility developer. I develop these biofreedom domes. These are a franchise dome that actually is a portal, and it's elevated within minutes. You can activate the whole intelligence logistics matrix. It's a living matrix. Everything down to the smallest centimeter. Within 400 kilometers, the standard of error is 1 centimeter. So from origin A, point A, all the way 400 kilometers, you can hit within 1 centimeter.
Right.
Accuracy every time. That's a laser point precision. That's like, it's almost real time. Actually, the antenna that we use is called an RTK, which is called a real time kinetic antenna, and that's what it is. It's I guess it's called chemiatology or something like that. It's like biophotonic. At the point that the light is actually transmitting the particles, it captures that kinetic wave, like right at the point. It's like incredible. And so this is beyond military application. There is a company here in Brazil that's the IT group that's behind it from actually Germany is the original, the basically the headquarters. See, in Brazil, like and also in the United States, you don't really know who owns these companies anymore. It's crazy. Saudi Arabia, I found the Prince of Saudi Arabia is investing heavily in Brazil in AI
Wow.
specific. Wow is right. And the influence of like the BRICS with the Russia, India, and China and Brazil, and now they're talking about Africa, South Africa getting involved and being part of that trade agreement. These are the things that we need to understand what's really behind, these type of alliances that are unnecessary. It doesn't do anything. Brazil should be open. Every country in the world should be open. If you want to go live somewhere and spend time there and raise your family, be part of that community and culture, we should all have that ability to go wherever we want. That's freedom.
Yep.
We're not one nation. We're one nation under God, indivisible, in liberty and justice for all. That's what we are. It's not the United States of America. It's the whole earth and our human, being human beings. That's what this is about. And whether or not we're going to be transfected or whatever with nanotechnology and nanobots and the crazy stuff that's happening right now in Asia. I guess Japan or something just declared that 60% of all their people have this disease because of these nanobots. They're just like out of control. It's gonna like eliminate. The COVID-19 is not even close to. But we have the ability to actually counteract, actually eliminate these heavy metals and forever chemicals from the human body
Yeah.
within 2 to 3 days. A very simple application with a water called a plasma water, an ocean plasma water. And so it actually uses ocean water and creates this magnetic charge. And you take these water drops under your tongue, and within 2 or 3 days, you get a reduction of about 20 to 30% of the toxicity out of your blood.
Wow.
And that's a substantial like type of immediate benefit within 2 days. And then you stay on the plan for these drops, and you start to weed off the drops. There's kind of like bottle feeding a baby. And so you start with 5 drops, and you end up with like 1 drop every 3 hours or something. And you do take these drops pretty much for the rest of your life, only because our atmosphere is so there's so many chemicals and everything.
Right.
It's almost virtually impossible to clean. We can work towards that, but that's like a beyond imagination that we're going to actually take all of the chemicals that we produce now with toxic, chemical warfare and atomic bomb testings and all these other devices. God only knows what, you know. I mean, some of the stuff that I have intelligence to is amazing, actually. Like I said, Christopher, if I was actually part of like some like political party that had like lobbyists and all sorts of influence, and if I was part of that, I wouldn't be the person that I am.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Or the experiences that we've had and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the point. The people in the United States, as American voters, they want to know what the hell they're getting. That's
Yeah.
all. Let's keep it open. Let's keep it transparent. And now these two parties are going back and forth. It's going to be such a circus, bro. You're going to be talking to me like on a regular basis saying, oh my God, did you hear what just happened? Like an hour ago. The breaking news is going to be like left and right. They're going to have to spend so much money. Like right now, the Harris campaign and Waltz, I get 5 or 6 emails a day. And
Yeah.
I'm not even registered as a Democrat. You know, I mean, I did do a word search about the DNC that just happened in Chicago, and so they have like these key words and stuff that they can see that I've been following the DNC. I wanted to find out what's happening with both parties, and I keep myself advised with the stories and the games and all of the controversies and whatever. I have all that like available. I have like a photogenic memory. It's amazing. I do store like a computer, and I can work fast, faster than Facebook can ban me. And so I'm not getting banned by people and stuff like that. But I'm also not provoking any of those words or whatever that trigger any type of hostility or some type of threat. And so even Article 5, one of the negatives about Article 5 is that some people claim that that's going to create such a chaos because everyone is so undivided that it's impossible of unity. So there's a certain like a niche of people in the United States that and call them, I don't know if they're corrupt and evil or they're just fearful that they're not going to have that power to take control of whatever, like fascism or call it whatever you want, some type of Nazism, or this is what Hitler was preaching of supreme, like a one nation, meaning the United States controlling everybody, which
Yeah.
is like obviously been like a strategy for hundreds of years to expand territory. But the U.S. hasn't been greedy in that way, because even right now Puerto Rico is a very important position as far as helping the United States in the Caribbean, and to have Puerto Rico as a full state, 51st state of the United States of America, and not just a Commonwealth or province or whatever. I'm not even sure exactly the classification of Puerto Rico, but
Yeah, I think
the
it's an
whole
annex,
point is,
isn't it?
well, I don't know exactly the legality of it. There were movements over the last 30 or so years, where Puerto Rico was trying to basically secede the United States totally, not be assumed at all. There's a separation in Puerto Rico. It's really with the financial markets. All of the banks are are owned by Puerto Rican holders and shareholders. So it's a Puerto Rican corporation. That's what separates the United States from basically being a full state. And so, what people really don't understand, Christopher, is that the Federal Reserve and the institutions that actually make money actually go through the Puerto Rico, and then through Puerto Rico go back to London or go back to England. And so it's kind of a controversy a little bit right now that actually U.S. IRS and taxpayer money for the works that Americans doing is actually all going back to the UK. And
Yeah.
so there's some questioning right now, is that, did the actual American Revolution really work, or has it all been like a theater and performance just to really cloud people's awareness, so that we don't know what the facts are? And not that that really matters so much, but because like I said, no matter what country you live in, now there's like 230 countries in the world. And
Right.
so that just went up from 197 or so. Only 193 of these countries are members of the full council of the United Nations. And so my question really is, well, how united is the United Nations if everyone's not a member?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, how can you call yourself united? And these are the kind of the issues with the Power of Islands podcast and the type of interviews that I conduct. I think on 45 interviews or so, and this playlist. It's called We Are One. It's a YouTube channel, and my friend here, Guilherme, who's the IT guy in Sao Paulo, is the one that's actually helping to record these and kind of classify them. But he's not spending a lot of time, and so we really need to elevate the multimedia center to the next level of really full-time 24/7 programming. Have the calendar, like fill the calendar in right away. There's so many people, there's so much demand to have an open channel where it's uncensored and unedited and just real time television. Every conversation is real time for wherever they are, pretty much here on Earth for the most. But we do have astronaut feeds and stuff with the space station and all of the things happening for space exploration. Very exciting. I
Yeah.
don't know about our ability actually to go to auto orbit, but within the Earth's orbit, or in these telescopes like the James Webb telescope that replaced the Hubble telescope, not replaced it. I think Hubble is still active, but the James Webb telescope right now is bringing in data that is unbelievable. It's just incredible. It
Yeah.
is a vision into the future, like time travel and like time capsules, and it's amazing. Our study of the planets and alignment of whatever phenomenon. I'm not really like huge like observer, stargazer, even like full moons and equinoxes, and we celebrate a lot of indigenous events in different times of the years, especially for growing and for praying, so that we can produce the food that the community here, can enjoy. And it's interesting because the work that we're doing is auto-sustainable. My wife and I, we stay on the island here. It's called Evolution Island, and actually, my name's David, so I call it Camp David, Brazil. And some people might know about Camp David in Maryland. And so, really, it's kind of crazy concept that as the U.S. president, I would have a home here in Brazil called Camp David, and I would have a home in the United States called Camp David. And there's a reason why David was named what it was in the United States, and it was because it was the preparation for this election. And it's crazy. I know that I go off. I really believe I win. I don't. It's not a belief. It's like to me. It's almost. I don't know what's the word. Um, I don't know if I don't want to stack it up so much in my favor that it's like, if we have the ability to use our imagination and create for evil, we can create utopia.
Oh,
No
yeah.
problem. And so for me, some of the things I talk about, Christopher, people consider maybe I'm on LSD or some drug or something.
I get the same shit, dude.
Yeah, like we already talked about that on the other show. How we can get labeled and classified and rejected, because that's our fear. Like I said, we have two fears: death and rejection. And the rejection is what hurts more than death.
Betrayal, I think, is worse.
What?
Betrayal?
Well, the betrayal is the rejection.
Yeah, it is, I guess, yeah.
If there's any condition, that's how you betray somebody else. You set them up, you set a trap, and they're going to fall right into it. I mean, it's no brainer. We know what human behavior is with, sexuality and whatever, dominance and abuse and trauma and drama and,
right,
all that goes along with, as the world turns, and all of these, like, I never really watched these, episodes where, like even what was it called, Dallas, the show called Dallas back in the day with Bill Clinton in office, and all of the things happening in Dallas and Houston, and all of the oil tycoons and all of the stuff that came out with Bernie Madoff and all the financial markets and the bubble and then 9/11, and I mean,
right.
Yeah, I'm 60 years old. You're a little bit younger still, so I could be almost your dad, but not quite. Maybe we're brothers. And so, it's amazing when I look back.
No, my dad's in his 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your dad's 60. Your dad's 60.
60 something. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not. It doesn't really matter. But what it's interesting is in 1964 is the last year of the baby boom cycle. So it's really on the edge of being, from a baby boomer to just a normal person.
64, you
Which is
said?
yeah, the 1964. I think it was from 52 to 64 or
Uh,
something like that.
both of my parents were born before 64, so
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Anyways, it's just interesting. The the involvement that we have with the elderly people in general, and I talk very personally about this because I actually live with several people over 110 years old, and I saw them. I didn't see them actually die. That would have killed me to to watch wonderful spirits of people, just incredible. Both women, uh, and elderly, and how they weren't really respected by not so much their family, obviously loved them and stuff, but it's I don't know, elderly people are just kind of put into a rocking chair, given a blanket, and basically, pacified and not
Hmm.
really engaged. So, here in Brazil, there's very strong laws about the elderly and how the elderly is actually treated in the public, and that there's a difference. Like any type of legislation, it couldn't have a purpose to really make those benefits. But if you're not really respecting the other person in its totality, whether the age or color of the skin or any of the limiting factors of discrimination, if you're using any of those uh, for a way of separating and taking some advantage over somebody else, then I think that we're at the point now where everyone is aware that that's the game that people are playing, and so as far as our society making the transformation and the shift, it's happening. It's already happened, actually, and when I say it's happening, that means it's on. We're on. The game's on.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't want to say we're winning, where because there's really not really an opposition. It's like being an athlete, and really the biggest test that you have is with yourself. Only you know what your performance level is. When you're competing with other high level performers, it just elevates you, and you feel like whether it's in an athletic sport or whether it's in music, for example, working together in an orchestra or even a chorus or something like that. Anything that's like choreography and dance and things in motion and arts and humanities. These are the things that really make our cultures so wonderfully unique. Being able to travel for the most part to all of the Caribbean islands and the Virgin Islands and everywhere, Cuba and Haiti and all the way down and into the Grenadas, and just the relationship that I have personally with CARICOM, which is basically the United Nations of the Caribbean islands. I think there's about 50 individual nations. So when you talk about the United Nations, the Caribbean itself has these islands are all independent nations of their own ancestry and history, and it's all slave connected with Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone was the slave capital of the world. It was the first place that they actually had um, the exchange of people for money, like cattle, like whatever, like some livestock, some like animal that you can that had no value. Just when it was no longer productive, you just got rid of it. A
Yeah.
dispensable piece of machinery, and that's really some of the movement with like AI. There are some organizations that obviously are working like in secret and trying to keep all of this intelligence for themselves for their own benefit, and that's not even the Democratic Party. Just after the Democratic National Convention, I don't know if you heard of the story or whatever. There's some like press release or announcement about U.S. patents that the Democratic Party is canceling all U.S. patents, so that now
Really?
these sciences. Yeah, you didn't hear about that?
No.
You got to check that out and do some fact checking for me, bro.
Okay.
Because that's what I was just. I don't know if it's propaganda. Like, you can't. It's hard. You try to stay educated and stuff, and the way that the media channels are, you spend more time trying to figure out whether it's true or not.
Right.
You know, we need the truth. People, we need to educate people with the truth first. You know, the false stuff, falls apart. You know, it's an illusion. The truth is what we want. But we are overwhelming people with all of these fantasies and all of these. I mean, everyone has an ability to express themselves, but come on, if your purpose is to make it more confusing for people to understand what it is just to be alive, and to try to
Right.
cause panic and like
Everybody
all of
drop
this
a cherry in the chat for me.
Yeah.
Yep. Anybody watching? It is actually working, dude. It's I'm watching it on YouTube and streaming from my other phone and talking to you on the other one.
Wow, cool. Well, you might have a new invention that you can deploy.
Yep.
You create your own, like I said, with the multimedia broadcasting. We're calling the station Brazil Real, REAL.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for a couple of reasons. I don't know if you know Brian Rose from London Real, REAL.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Brian Rose is a pretty good interviewer, one of the first podcasters, and has a whole institute about teaching people how to actually do the podcasting like professionally. It's a really good organization. Brian Rose is an American from, actually, I think was born in Arizona and spent a lot of time in California.
Wow.
And so his character is very interesting. He was just running for the mayor of London. He's going to try to be the mayor of London. He had a political campaign, actually had some momentum, and really with the wealthy people, the educated, wealthy young people that are going to Oxford and all these other wonderful universities in the UK, obviously, especially in the area of AI. A lot of people listening to this, maybe in this recording, the United States with Silicon Valley and San Francisco, obviously very important with AI, probably the most important still. However, the UK and the Prime Minister just recently in this last couple of years has really made a lot of commitment to the AI community and technology in general. And so really with energy and transportation and climate change and all of these world issues, when we start looking at how technology can help us to really stabilize our situation so that we're not all panicking and all doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the average person that lives their life, you wake up in the morning, basically you're creating a mess all day so that towards the afternoon you start cleaning up the mess, start to close up the shop or whatever you're doing, start to think about dinner or, relaxing a little bit and going to bed, and then starting it all over again every day of your life. And so it's kind of it's the rat race that we would say. And now we know that there's a way of everyone benefiting from the best of all conditions and all situations.
Yep.
We're intelligent. We don't have to pollute the earth for the energy
That's
that
nice.
we need.
Now it's nice and
Now
solid.
we can distribute the energy in nano. In the day you had to have these like transmission utility centers. These big high voltage, very dangerous places in our community, and the gathering of that much energy into one center, whether it be a nuclear process or any other collection of energy like that, it only creates these blackouts. Basically, the energy is cooking. It's so rapid and so hot that it never has a chance to live. It's just frying itself. And so these utility systems that we have really need to be looked at, especially even the 5G and these towers, the transmission towers. Anything emitted in the air is going to have an effect on our brain. Quite honestly, these airwaves, these radio waves, we're being bombarded, with the EMF and all these other radioactive and atmospheric pressures and stresses. And it's just, so we're in a cooker, we're in a microwave oven in essence. And now we've been fed, that those chemicals in metals forever, chemicals and heavy metals. And now it's in our system, and they can just turn it up and it just reflects it, beyond solar. It's just,
Yeah.
you just incinerate. You're gone. You're like one drop of water, like a bloop in the ground, and then you're done. You're gone. Which is, I don't know. We have, I talk about things like cryogenics and the preservation of life outside of the physical, our ability, but really even a subject like I talk about after near-death experience and coming back from basically unconsciousness to reconsciousness or rebirth,
Right.
and doing it over and over and over again, not having it be like an exceptional situation in your life. It's just becomes so regular that these miracles are just happening, just like all the time. I mean, it's never not a miracle. It's just being alive, being here, being able to express ourselves and help each other. Because I don't know, let me ask you, the last time we spoke, you were still looking for work. Did you find, did that job work out with the?
I had an interview yesterday at the place, and they said they would reach out to me through Indeed. They would reach out to me through Indeed, so I'm just waiting. I'm gonna go grab me something to drink, but keep talking because you're on the air.
Okay, cool. Well, I don't know if anyone's listening, or if anyone wants to ask any questions or comments, but I'm happy. I find very gratifying when people ask questions. So, and if you're listening to this recording later, not live, which is today, which is September 2nd, which is Monday in the year 2024, if you're listening to this recording sometime in the future, then what we can do is you can try to reach out to me. My name is David Ferdinand, Ferdinand. And Facebook, it would be David Ferdinand and then we, WE. And if you do that together with the we at the end, then it should come up with my profile, and you can see everything there is the WhatsApp contact, the email, and what have you, and all sorts of links and different websites and partners, and the pin post with the press release regarding the we candidate for the U.S. presidency for the 47th president of the United States of America. And so that pin post is a press release. It's very important for people to go ahead and build a relationship with me. I'm open, I'm accessible. I answer everyone's question directly. My contact is available. I don't avoid people. I'm not hiding. I'm a very public, open person. And so I'm here today with Christopher, I believe is in Phoenix, Arizona. Is that right, Chris? You're in Phoenix? Yeah, anyways, I think he stepped away from the mic here. But if anyone wants to say anything, I'm going to play a little bit of music here. It's Antenna 1, ANTENA 1, and that's only with one N in antenna. Some people spell antenna with two N's, but this is antenna1.com.br. And so, is Christopher back? Hi, Christopher. Are you back? I'm going to play a little bit of the antenna People, if you want, you can join in and you can get this live stream.
Europa, você decide. Descubra a beleza do Nordeste a bordo do espetacular INSC Grandiosa. Com todas as refeições incluídas, muito conforto e entretenimento completo. Aproveite o menu de promoções INSC com crianças grátis. Cruzeiros de 7 noites com embarque em Santos. A partir de 12 vezes de R$ 346 por pessoa. Consulte msccruzeiros.com.br ou seu agente de viagens. INSC Cruzeiros. Viva a grande beleza. Antena, a número 1 em música. Prove seu talento em português e matemática e concorra a bolsas de estudos do Objetivo. Participe do desafio em 21 de setembro, às 9 horas, nas unidades do colégio. Inscreva-se no site objetivo.br. Em toda a caminhada, há sempre um objetivo. O Compatinho é o melhor amigo de qualidade. Com Compatinho você está protegido de verdade. Compare, com segurança e tecnologia. Vagabundo do caminhão, a potência do Compatinho nunca te deixa na mão. Pra quem usa Compatinho, todos são a chão. A potência do Compatinho é um fator de confiança. Compare.
Hey, Chris, can you hear me? Christopher. Yeah, Christopher. Anyways, we're coming up on the 4th hour for today of this live stream broadcast, The Power of Islands. I'm the host, David the Indian, and today is Monday, September 2nd, the year 2024. And this is Free for All month, September. And for this month, people that go into the Quantum Sync, and that's quantum in the word quantum, sync, SYNC, applicativo, quantumsync.us is the actual address. But you can go to the Apple Store, or you can go to Google Play Store, I believe it's called, and you can go ahead and download the Quantum Sync app. And for the month of September, there's no charge. It's a free app, and you can utilize your account for your life. You can actually will your account to other people when you pass away. And so all of the benefits with Quantum Sync are incredible. It's an integrated app, probably the most sophisticated that I know of personally. You know, I'm not a professional app developer or blockchain programmer or anything like that, but I am involved with quantum science and inventions and these new technologies and 5D, and also all of the world of plasma and basically time crystals, which is very important. I talk about time crystals and how time crystals are the transformative science.
I have a couple of viewers asking questions here. Somebody's asking if I still want to do a music collab, and I'm going to answer that with a yes. I would love to. Let's see. I will post my. Let's see. I'll put my Facebook page up here in the comment section for you.
Yeah, I mean the idea, Christopher, is for this. This is going to be a program that we're going to run in the afternoon, as I said, from 3 o'clock. Really the hub, kind of the database mine or the clearinghouse, the data clearinghouse, however you want to describe it. We're a center of intelligence. Any communication that happens within the Biofreedom Project, within the area of 400-kilometer radius, which is a pretty good distance. It covers already from where we are, goes right into the city of Sao Paulo, which is over 25 million people in a very dense city. and so we can actually map and, you know, like Google Map and stuff, but
Nice.
much more sophisticated. And so the technology that we're able to do with this matrix, what we call the living matrix, there's actually two matrix that we have. The only possibility is two. One's the dead matrix, is what we're basically living in with all of these contracts and all of these obligations that we have as corporations, as like machines or some type of commodity, like a slave that you can put a day's labor on, or even minimum wage, or, you know, universal basic income, or some social welfare program, or communism, or anything like that. These ways that governments have I don't know, want to try to maintain a dependency with the population, but at the same time, they don't want anything to do with the population. So, you know, kind of like government working against itself, because people that work in government are people in our community. Like here where I am in Brazil, probably about 70% of the people that have jobs, like real jobs, not working at like a, you know, a bar on the beach or something like that, you know, some hospitality like restaurant or club or, you know, service area. You know,
Somebody's asking you a question, David.
Yes.
They said, have you ever seen the show Dark? Just curious.
I have not seen any shows with the title Dark. I mean, or I tend not to look in the dark. I tend to try to look in the light. But anyways, if you,
it's a science fiction. It's a science fiction flick.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not. You know, as much as I talk about technology and things like AI, it's pretty interesting. My wife actually says to people, I'm the laziest bum on earth. You know, I mean, it's like I'm talking about all of these creative inventions and all of this excitement, and she's like, "What are you doing? You're basically like smoking mirroring people. You're not, you know, you're not the next Einstein. You're not this. You're not that." And I'm just like, you know, this is the world that we live in. We can create whatever we want in our lives as long as we're helping other people. In my opinion, really giving back the gifts that God have bestowed upon
Absolutely.
us. That we have been granted. You know, it's just wonderful to be stewards, to be alive, to be witnesses, to have these type of exchanges. You know, this technology is amazing. But if we have governments and also institutions like Facebook and other social media, even X and the things that Elon Musk is doing, he says it's all for the betterment, but obviously he's maintaining all of that for his own empire. You know, that's really what it's all about. Whether it's the conquering of Earth or conquering of all of the universe, you know, somebody like Elon Musk is going to try to go for the gold. Going to try to capture it all, and you monopolize in space and actually accomplish some of the objectives that they have. But you know, the thing is, our oceans, you know, here on Earth are so vast, and now we have these projects that are coming out. And I talked a little bit yesterday. On Sunday, September 1st was the opening, like the opening day or ribbon cutting or, you know, curtain call or whatever you want to, you know, the show began yesterday, and we had several, like I said, some really key speakers were able to get into a lot of different subjects. It was really very interesting. And now what we're doing is we're recording today. Yesterday, the public record button was not showing, and my IT guy, Guilherme, was very busy yesterday. So he, you know, I don't know what happened, but I think we disconnected the recording yesterday somehow. So today, so far for this 4 hours, we're coming on almost 4 hours in the next 20 minutes or so. So I'm going to try to wrap it up here. But we're going to be broadcasting, like I said, tomorrow and every day for the remainder of this until the 30th, which is also Monday. We're starting basically on a Monday and ending on a Monday, and it's kind of interesting. We're going to be recording hopefully all of these days, and each day is going to be just listed on the playlist as September 1st, 2nd, all the way to the 30th. And so it's called Free for All September 2024 is going to be the basically master file. And then you can go into each individual day. And like Christopher's been on, certain time here for about an hour or so now.
An hour and 21 minutes. Wesley, I just posted my Facebook link in the chat for you from YouTube. It should be in the YouTube live comment section under my actual name, Christopher Shira. It's a different account. So he says there's only one Einstein and Oppenheimer, and then he says, have you heard of the concept of ghost universes? And then he says AI music is something else too, and then he says okay to me. So I just got my old phone back from my buddy, so I'm dealing with some bugs on it, but it's good to be able to broadcast you from Brazil through my StreamYard using another phone. And so like my main phone I'm using is in the call on Google Meet, and then I'm using another phone to stream my StreamYard to my YouTube, and then I'm using an old phone that I had I soldered a battery wire into it and plug it right into the wall, and so that works as a third device. It's pretty cool. It has no battery, so I figured out the contact points for where the battery plus and minus would be, and I soldered wires to it to make it a USB plug into the wall kind of phone. So it's kind of like a backup. But I'm pretty right, the lost art of soldering. That's right.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm pretty.
You're a pirate.
I'm a what?
Pirate.
I am.
You're
I have a pirate in my family too. And Pirate Shira.
Kennedy's in your family too.
Huh?
You have Kennedy in your family too.
And Lincoln. And Bloody Mary's in my family also. I don't know, remember her last name. Suter? Or I know she's part of Robert the Robert the Bruce was part of the Scottish family tree too.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy stuff there, Christopher.
Yeah, I'm pretty royal. But nobody knows.
Right.
Nobody cares really, but it's all good.
That's bullshit.
Huh?
What we're gonna do, what we're working on is in this multimedia centers, 1 hour each window. So it's like basically 60 minutes times 24 a day.
Yeah.
And so we have this programming. So like, for example, yourself, within an hour, you can pretty much project who you are, and also have all of the, basically your library, all of your history, past, present, and future, all connected. And so we can make a presentation, basically your life story, and we can do that for everybody.
Yeah,
and
we can
do it with like no cost. It's using AI. It's using these algorithms of facial recognition. So basically your body language is like 80% of your communication. We know that.
Absolutely.
And so now we can capture all of that energy with just how you hold your face, and the stress that you have in the muscles in your jaw.
Oh, I know it. Have you seen the AI robots they got coming out? They've been advertising them for a while. They actually make facial expressions and all sorts of stuff. Like, you can hardly tell these damn things are fake, Wait until they start having kids.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anything is possible, It's crazy. But
Androids
actually,
and stuff, dude. Damn.
What something also, and I'm going to wrap it up here in the next couple of minutes, actually.
Okay.
We're going to try to stay on the schedule. 4 hours already. Yesterday was a long day for me, and so I'm trying to also spend time with my wife. I don't want to neglect, just by trying to, save humanity doesn't mean that you sacrifice your own kids and family and stuff.
No.
We have to be respectful and kind of set some. I don't want to say conditions, but
boundaries,
at least have it. Yeah, well, we have a
guidelines
schedule now. Yeah, guidelines so that people, guideposts or light posts or whatever, just directions for people. Because with podcasts, one of the weaknesses that I see in these other podcasts and people trying to really get the education and information out to people is that there's no unity, and there's no uniformity, and so they have random episodes on random topics with random people, random days, and so what we're trying to do is create like a even like Oprah Winfrey, or even Phil Donahue, which actually is an interesting icon in the United States. I don't know if you remember Phil Donahue, the Donahue Show.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, I was privileged one time. I was in LA and went to the stage where Donahue was there, and he was like right in front of me. I like reached out. I couldn't quite touch him, but I wanted to try to make that like physical connection with Phil Donahue. At the time, he was, these type of things in Hollywood and in the expression of television and motion pictures and stuff, for me, has always been a deep fascination. And the first time I actually turned on a television and I was there alone and no one else was in the room, I was only, I think, 4 years old, or somewhere around 4 or 5. I don't remember exactly. I was young. And I got up in the morning, early in the morning. We had just bought the television, the first time that we went from radio entertainment, all sitting around, to this box that when you turned it on, oh my God, there was somebody in there. I mean, it's like, it was hard for, when I first turned the television on, I couldn't believe it was dark, kind of like early morning. So it was kind of weird. I was in the parlor. They call it a parlor or a living room in the old days in Victorian homes. They call them parlors. So I was in the parlor and I turned on the TV, and instantly that I ever went through in my life. And I was now inside the TV, looking out of the TV at me, and I could see myself sitting in front of the TV. Can you believe that?
That's incredible. Wesley has a question for you. He goes, "You're not a flat earther, are you, David? Sounds like you're an intelligent guy." I'm not myself. I'm not, but
yeah, no, this is what I would say. Well, first of all, as the president of the United States and representing anybody, including myself, I don't get involved with like speculation. So is the earth flat? I don't know. But the first 100 days that I'm in office, we are going to open up the Article 5 convention, which is going to give basically an unlimited amount of time for people to debate and ask questions. And let's resolve, simple things like, is the earth flat? Have we been to the moon? Is there Antarctica? Is there's this big, the wall, and then there's a whole separate world in Antarctica, and that's why we're limited from going there. Is the center of the earth actually an iron molten lava ball, or is it hollow? Actually, can we go through the earth and come out to another universe on the other side of the earth's atmosphere, like totally, by just going to the center of the earth? These are the things in space and science. Even when John F. Kennedy and his administration, how charismatic that was all in our history, to say that we were going to basically go into space and go to be the first men on the moon, and all of the space program, science and technology, and all of the excitement that came from that. That's the type of administration that we're talking about here in this election. During the month of September here is about informing the public, opening up the Article 5 convention, and in October actually holding that open debate, so that by November election, first of all, we're going to be making petition to actually prolong that election and not actually have November 5th be the fixed date for that election, and for reasons of constitutional rights and also crimes against humanity. And once we open up the Article 5, it's going to be a judicial review and audit, and basically whistleblowers and all sorts of witnesses, expert testimony witnesses, forensics, and everything is going to be coming out. People that do confess to crimes and actually and ask for forgiveness, those people will be treated differently than people that try to run and hide. And it's impossible. You know, the technology that we have is basically any communication is public record, and anything you say and do in the public realm can be held against you in the court of law. Every one of us.
Yep.
And so the standard of our behavior in society now, there's no limit. I mean, not no limit. There's no tolerance for error.
Right. They will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. We got a couple comments here. Wesley says, anyways, good conversation, guys. Hope to tune in more later. I said, okay, have a good day. And he says, I guess I would say I recognize facts. Anyways, take care, guys. And I'm a facts recognizer too, so I can't necessarily tell you the world's flat or round. I think it's a donut, to be honest. Because if you take Tesla's model of how to make a Tesla coil, and you nail 9 nails in a circle, and then you ran your wire skipping every other nail, you know, and going back like 1 to 9, then 3, 7, 5, 8, 2, 6, 4, back all the way back to the beginning. When that turns on, you'll see the field goes right through it like a donut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the thing is about quantum and the difference between a wave and a particle is that we have proven that if we pay attention and actually apply our imagination, we can create anything. If you want to say the earth is flat, it's flat, bro.
Actually, let me rephrase that. It's 135792468, 135792468, and then if you wrap that all the way, that makes a Tesla coil.
Okay.
That was backwards. I was going across the realm in order to make the points, but no, it's 135792468. Then if you add 2 more, the 0 point energy, it makes it even better.
Yeah. Well, that's what we want.
Yep.
We want it perfect.
Yep.
We don't want to make America great again or MAGA. What we want is to remember how perfect our union is.
Yeah.
And has always been. In our Constitution, it says we the people in perfect union. And that's in that document, that is what is the perfection. It's not about being great or like a superpower or something outstanding. It's about the perfection of what the dream of having the freedom and the liberty to be able to pursue whatever that we set ourselves to do.
Yep.
And that's the choice that we make, and we're held responsible, each and every one of us, in a republic, and where we have equal rights and universal rights and ethics and morality and all of the things that go along with legislating and law enforcement and judicial systems. So that's what it's very simple for people listening. You know, like I said, Christopher, when we mention Article 5, there's a group of people that object immediately, and they're like, no way in hell you're not opening up a convention and creating chaos like a circus. That's what some people think. It's going to be like a circus, and the clowns are going to come out, and it's going to ridicule, you know, whatever, the monarch or the, you know, whatever we're actually trying to protect, which is really artificial. We don't need to protect anything. But, you know, government has a position. You know, some people say to me that they don't vote, and even saying that I want to run for politics makes me already guilty as sin. there's no trust at all.
Guilty by association.
Yeah, exactly. That's the danger, that we take in public, as public representatives, public figures, because you're exposed, you are a target, whether it's the election cycle or, like in my case, for example, I don't know for a fact that I'm the 47th president of the United States, but I don't mind being the 48th, maybe even the 49th or 50th. I mean, my age, the way that I live my lifestyle, and the way we all can, we are like anti-aging right now. We're actually getting to be at our top performance, when we're entering into 70s and 80s, and in these ages, traditionally, elderly people are like written off. To retire when you're 65 and actually stay alive to actually collect any of that Social Security is amazing, because literally, I know people that retire within a year, maybe 2 years, they're dead. They don't know how to live at all without a job. And so Social Security is kind of a racket, because really, to collect those benefits, most of the time you're sick with some pre-existing, even terminal illness, on chemotherapy or some heart condition, high blood pressure, or diabetes. And so, to say, for me, if it's not this election cycle, doesn't mean it's an all or nothing. It doesn't mean it's over. What we're going to do is go through the legal procedures to actually go ahead and call the convention under Article 5. And once that happens, then if there's an elected president, we're going to audit that president. And we're going to find out all the facts about who they are, with the absolute facts, like a court case or like a hearing. Like, everyone will be under hearing. And so if people confess, like I said, to whatever crimes that they committed, they're going to be treated with leniency. And we're not going to try to build like more prisons to really incarcerate these people. Many of the people have done evil things only because they thought that everyone else was doing it. Why not? Why can't I do it? And everyone else is benefiting. It's greedy and selfish, obviously. But, if somebody recognizes that they went through that and they really want to, I don't want to say repent, or they want to transform or get reborn or rebooted, or just up to date with, the new age of love and compassion and what have you, and not trying to take some advantage over other people. The people that when they confess, that we're going to work with people. But, there is going to be an incidence of a rise in suicide. It's going to be unfortunate, but some of the people, once Article 5, they know what the crimes that they committed, and they're horrible.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so, they're going to prejudge themselves. And so in the month of September, we're trying to work with John De Herrera, who is the champion of the Article 5 Walker versus the House. The members of Congress, of the U.S. Congress, is called Walker versus members of the U.S. Congress. It's a bill that was submitted to the Supreme Court justices. I believe there's 9 of them, and each one of them did not respond to actually the call to the convention. And I think that was about 10 years ago. And so with COVID and all of the other things, even 9/11 and all of the other craziness, the Walker bill is still on the table. We still have 2/3 of all the states that have already signed the bill to actually what's the requirement. And actually, we even have more than 2/3 now. It's pretty much unanimous. Every state in the United States wants to have this convention, even though they know that their political party is going to be subjected to a lot of ridicule, because there's no other independence of any, any type of, recognition. So it's going to be, this audit and the amendments to the Constitution, reform, and what have you, are going to be political issues for other elections coming up in the off cycle in 2 years. and how the Congress and House and Senate, how that works as far as legislative possibilities of carrying through with these reforms and actually enacting them immediately so that people can benefit, not only American people, but all people, especially even Canada and Mexico.
Right.
Really kind of the focus for me in my foreign policy, and the things that I'm going to be backing are our neighbors, Canada and Mexico. A lot of things happening in Canada. I have a lot of good people, really dear, like friends that over the years now, have come together in unity and really valuing spirituality and ayahuasca, plant medicine, and all of the things related to indigenous people rights and the rights of nature, sustainability,
Right.
circular economy, all of these things about inclusion and solidarity and workers cooperatives and working with unions and creating the stability for people to be living in peace now. There's no reason that people die and then everyone says, oh, rest in peace. No, you made their life miserable while they were alive, and then you're going to say for them to rest in peace. That's really nice. Why not rest in peace right now and forever hold that peace? You don't ever have to be, like rolling over in your grave or something,
That's why I've been staying inside for a minute.
Yeah, it's cold outside.
No, it's hot.
Oh, it's hot.
Hella hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in Phoenix, right?
No, I'm in Yuma.
In Yuma.
Yeah, it's hotter than hell
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
Hot as hell here. No, I think hell's a cold, dark place, to be honest with you.
No, don't make it sound so dark and cold.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's fire because fire, the flame of love, is what fuels the afterworld with its bonfires. My sister been there in a dream, and so it ain't hell ain't the fiery place.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Christopher,
Yes.
and anyone listening, anyone that made comments, by the way, thank you very much. Anyone listening to this recording after we post it, which should be tomorrow, as early as tomorrow. I'm not sure how quickly Guy is going to be posting it, but we're going to try to do it as quick as possible. And then you can hear this recording if you do want to utilize it for any type of promotion or whatever.
Yeah, it'll be on
And then
YouTube
we can continue
momentarily.
tomorrow. Like I said, it's 3. I think it's going to be on YouTube also already because it's recorded. I don't know exactly, Christopher. That's why.
Well, yeah, well, I'm streaming to YouTube right now.
Support. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if it's streaming on there, you're going to record it through your channel, I guess, and then you could repost it or whatever, put it on Facebook or
Yep.
however you want to do that. And I don't know if you want to. You have what is it called? Cognizant Sapient.
Cognizant Sapience is the YouTube channel. Yeah.
Right. But is that what you would like? If we had the 24/7 program, and maybe even once a week or so, depends on yourself. It could be once a day. You could pick an hour and take one window, and then you can talk about your podcast and bring in, guest speakers, and we can share in type of programming and content. That way, you're covering things that you're interested and passionate about, and also, current events, like things that are happening. What we want to do is try to stay as close to things that are happening right now, like in your community, like there in Yuma. What's happening on the streets and whatever. Like you're saying, it's hot, really hot there right now. This has been a very dry year, I guess.
Yeah, it has.
Forest fire. It's gonna be an interesting, climate. Even as the president of the United States, I got to be honest with you, when it comes to these natural disasters and like hurricanes and stuff and the devastation, I don't really look forward to being like in a helicopter or whatever and flying over these devastated places where people have lost their lives and livelihood and whatever. It'd be horrible for me emotionally to have to try to even be involved with that. I'll be honest with you, but at the same time, I realize that we here on Earth are coexisting with these natural situations, and I think that some of this stuff that's happening with extreme weather, especially rain here in Brazil, this last couple of years has been a really nightmare. We got affected 2 years ago at Carnival in February of 2021, I believe.
Oh shit! Send some of that rain up this way.
Yeah. Well, this is actually the largest density of rainfall on Earth. People don't realize that. Right where we are with Evolution Island, we have the Fountain of Youth and all sorts of fresh mineral water and what have you. But at the same time, the rainfall here is incredible. It is in the rainforest, but it's not because of the forest. This is atmospheric rain, not coming from the vegetation. Does produce moisture and whatever, but not like what we're talking about. The rains here cause mudslides and all sorts of rock avalanches, which is really the #1 threat to any like civilization or society here. The roads get closed, and it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. But now with the technology that we have to actually navigate the ocean here, the coastal area here is a direct line, so it's very simple. There's really, in the ocean, there's very few obstacles like reef systems and whatever. So start looking at
Excuse me.
advanced like water like taxis and things like that, and also the use of these drones. The law says that you can fly a drone as long as it's not over a populated area. So, having drones on the mainland is really a very difficult proposition, especially in a big city like Sao Paulo, 25 million people, and all of the different size buildings, and the complexity of the airspace there is crazy with the international airport and in the local airports and things, and helicopter traffic, and it's crazy. People don't realize the dynamics of Sao Paulo are just incredible. One of the largest cities in the world, and for transportation of cargo and like imports and exports, and it's incredible. It's a great country, a very powerful nation. Not that they need to have any more power, but working together. The whole idea is about the Americas. That's what's really going to solve the immigration problem into the United States and the borders in Panama, in New Mexico, and in Texas and California, and what have you. And so, as long as what we can do is create an environment in these countries like Argentina, for example. Argentina is a whole nation, which over 25 years or so since I've been intimately involved in Buenos Aires and other parts of Argentina. I was a land banker and a real estate developer, so I was able to really do analysis on pretty much all of the territory of Argentina. It's incredible. The people there, the culture, everything is just amazing. Terra del Fuego, which is the southernmost portion of Argentina, is just an incredible place. I never traveled there, but it would be one of the places that I would like to go. And you talk about Antarctica, it's just the most southern portion of where we have like civilization from Antarctica. And so, Argentina, Venezuela, Cuba, these countries are and also Brazil, other countries, and El Salvador and Nicaragua and whatever, Ecuador, Peru, Chile. It's all the Americas. And so that's the idea. We've been talking about the Americas trade agreement, which basically opens up all of this continent, North America, South America, Central America, all combined. You have the ability to go wherever you want to go, whenever you want to go there. You have the ability to work there. You can own property. You can do whatever you want. And that's going to really solve the problem with people going to the United States, because that's really the only reason that I know, and I know quite a few people that go illegally from Brazil And they even ask me, how do they do it? It's very simple. Just get a plane ticket and just don't come home. You know, you just have to take the risk that you're going to, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
At that point, you know, but it's not like being like in Mexico, you know, and swimming in the Baja or something with the sharks and stuff to try to get to California, you know,
Right.
like in the ocean. And some people take that. That's why they call them wetbacks, you know, Mexican wetbacks, or in California, the people that jump in the ocean and actually just float, you know, on a raft or whatever. They just, you know,
or they cross the Rio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However they get there is not really the issue with the immigration, and building a wall doesn't solve anything. With the core reason why people go is only because of jobs. That's all.
Yep.
You can profit. You can get any job. Almost any foreigner has like a privilege over like a local person, you know, especially with unions and stuff, you know, and agriculture and industrial development, whatever.
Right.
Automotive and whatever. They just hire these immigrants. They don't. I don't know. It's just it's such an imbalance. You know, to look at the issues right now, current events. You know, 40 million estimated Venezuelans went into the United States in the last 2 years or so. 40 million.
Dang.
And so, damn is right. And these people had privileges on pretty nice boats. They weren't suffering like, you know, the slaves in Africa coming over from Sierra Leone to you know, New Orleans or something. You know what I'm saying? They're not on this vessel like crammed together with people dying and puking and shitting all over each other. I mean, the immigrants that come in the United States basically are funded by the U.S. government, by the Democratic Party specifically right now, because these people have the right to vote. Even though they're illegal, they can come in and they can vote up to the level of the president of the United States on any level. And so the way that we allow the voting in the United States is really the problem. You know, with immigration, there's a procedure. If you're going to go to the United States is what I'm talking about. But really, you know, my policy in general about immigration is to remove all of the barriers of why you want to come in this country anyways. You know, if you're going to be there because that's really what your passion is, and you want to live that dream, then that's a whole different story than, you know, some invasion from Venezuela by some, you know, kind of crazy dictator that's basically flooding, you know, with guerrillas, and not physical guerrillas. I mean, like
guerrilla warfare.
Guerrillas. Yeah. Yeah, you know,
or
like
sleeper cells.
Yeah, like people in the prison system in the you know, in Venezuela now have a free ticket to the United States to stay in the Holiday Inn or the Ritz-Carlton in Chicago. And so they get in the United States, and then they go on air-conditioned buses and they go up into Chicago, and now they're in a hotel with spa treatment, massages, and everything. And then the American people, the poor bastards out on the street, on the sidewalks, are suffering like hell. And they're watching all of these immigrants. They don't even need licenses anymore. In some of the cities, the police departments were told, if you pull over somebody that doesn't have a license or a DM, you know, a license to operate a vehicle, you don't even say a word to them. They can't even stop the person. You got to just let them go and say, have a good day. Have a good day. And then if it's an American that didn't pay the taxes or has a parking ticket or whatever, fuck, these people are being, you know, on the, you know, the most wanted list or something with the FBI, and just totally just, you know, it's just totally lopsided.
Yeah,
and that's the whole. People say, how are you going to solve this issue? All you do is you create an environment where people want to be at home with their people. And in Brazil, it's such a beautiful place, you know, as far as the nature. There's no reason, there's no substitute. You know, even in the United States, I'm not saying that there's no reason in the beauty that we have. Obviously is remarkable. You know, wonders of the world are in the United States. People do respect our nature and our national parks, especially that whole program with NOAA and with the
National
with the
parks is where a lot of missing people happen too, though.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, we know that. Well,
Yeah.
in the Grand Canyon, there was just something, and also even the geyser, I guess the old Faithful or whatever. That park just had I guess a volcanic eruption or something.
No,
I
it
mean,
was
it
an
wasn't a
earthquake.
huge. It was an earthquake. I don't know.
The land is splitting, like it's split. It shifted 5 feet.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a lot.
yeah. Like the road they drive through on shifted over 5 feet, like in one spot. So
Oh my
you're driving down the road, and then there's this 5-foot gap that's shifted over 5 feet in like a 10-foot length. And like,
dude.
what?
Yeah, I was in California in the 1980s when the bridge in San Francisco collapsed. I think it was an 8.0 or something. And dude, I was on the road, I was on the freeway, and I was going up on and these are big ass freeways in California, you can imagine, bro, like 8-laners and stuff like that. And so I was going on the freeway, and I was going up the side of the ramp to go onto another connection, like a connector.
Yeah.
And anyways, the bridge I was on was wobbling. I could feel my car like a wave. I couldn't believe that the bridge just didn't collapse. I really couldn't. I thought I was dead. I could have been dead, actually.
Wow.
I could have just, like one of these instant deaths, but you don't actually die. You you find that it's like the Mandela effect or something. You're in the earthquake, and then the next minute you're like you just escaped somehow. I mean, I've had incidents on about 9 or so occasions. I call it my cat lives. They say cats have 9 lives, and so I'm like, I'm hoping we have more than 9, because I think I've actually reached my 9 lives. So I mean, it's kind of crazy. But as the president of the United States, you want somebody in that office that has that ability to get regenerated. And not be totally overwhelmed by some situation, even like 9/11, God forbid something like that happened while I'm actually in office. I'm going to have to respond to some of these potentially crazy situations,
Yeah.
and do it in a way. Hopefully, I've learned. I don't watch a lot of television and stuff, but when I do, when I'm attracted to whatever it is, I learn it and I absorb it and I become it. So the information, like anything to do with like running for presidency and things, I'm not being coached and counseled. I'm actually self-educating myself, and that gives me the ability. I don't have to worry about like writing speeches and any preparation. I'm totally prepared. I'm totally confident. And the reason why I have that confidence is because I know I'm united. We are all one. And so with the compassion and working together, helping each other, encouraging each other, and just living life, just being human to each other, to even extraterrestrial.
Yep.
If we do have the ability to meet with other entities, why not meet with that unconditional love? Instead of having a fear that something is going to overtake us and we have to kill it. It's like some monster, and we kind of don't even give a chance to really be intimate and compassionate to all life without any type of judgment or condition. And so that's really the message for tonight. This is a little bit extended over a little bit. Christopher's here from Yuma, Arizona, and I'm calling from Sao Paulo, Brazil, on Evolution Island. And so this has been very interesting. September 2nd, which is a Monday. And like I said earlier, for people that didn't listen or hear, this is a broadcast that's going to be done for every day in September. It's called Free for All September. And we're going to be broadcasting at 3 o'clock Eastern Time until 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And so there's people listening from California, Pacific Coast time, also in Hong Kong, and several people in Australia and New Zealand and other places in Asia. And so the timing of all of this, we're trying to help to make it a time that's reasonable. In the afternoon in Asia, it's really difficult because that's their first thing in the morning. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning or something. Makes it a little bit more complicated for South Korea, China, and these other countries, in Pakistan and Afghanistan and India,
Yeah.
wherever. Places are so important with all of the things that we're working with climate change, and especially pollution and ocean pollution. You know, in these parts of the world, in Thailand, Asia, Malaysia, Indonesia, and what have you, they have some real serious problems with plastics in the ocean, and these huge collections of these pollutants that are crazy. But we have the possibility of really cleaning this up very quickly, which is really the good news. You know, we know when we have the equipment, we have the technology. If we can create war, we can create peace, and that's the transformation that we're talking about. You know, the end of this era of domination and supreme power, and basically bullying and just lying to people and deception and just outright evil. And so that's what we're our hopes and expectations for this month in September is really to cast light on all the subjects related to governance and politics, the election cycle coming up, and not only the United States, but in other parts of the world. It's very important time that we're going through here in the next month or two. In some cases, in October is really the key month. In the United States, the real focus is on November 5th. And so what we're going to be trying to do here during the month of September is raise awareness and get the Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution for the call for a convention to actually take shape, and during the month of October to actually open the convention, and maybe even I don't want to say prevent the election in November 5th, but ask for an extension or some other way if we need to, if the American people need more information and more time. Even the Secret Service investigation for the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, these are documents that they're now saying are not even going to be exposed until maybe January or February after the inauguration. And so if we find that there's these criminal activities related to the alleged attempt of assassination, or whether the fact that actually the assassination was a reality and not some Hollywood scripted geometria type of fantasy,
Right.
it's hard to say. Like, we talk about flat earth, but we can talk about a lot of controversies with people missing and things in our society. We don't know what's going on. People are being kidnapped and used as like medical rats in some laboratory in some island, maybe even like Epstein Island or whatever. I mean, we need to come to terms with what the hell's going on in our community. It's as simple as that. For the message here, people listening, we're not trying to cause like an unrest. We're trying to stabilize and have peace and harmony in our communities. But if there's evil stuff happening in your neighborhood and you don't know who your neighbor is, shame on you. I mean, if you know your neighbor and everyone's working together in harmony, not that everyone needs to be the same, like, some cult or something, but at least have an awareness of what's going on in our communities. Because if they're manufacturing these machines of evil or whatever, they have to be being done by other people that are working. That's why we need whistleblowers. I've been a whistleblower at least 3 times. I'm not counting, but I know 3 times where my life has been threatened, and I've taken an action to try to help other people before I'm helping myself. So whistleblowers tend to be like martyrs, or these examples of leaders that don't have the fear that prevents them from being courageous and voicing whatever the facts and blowing the whistle and identifying when evil actions are being taken place and people are being violated in civil rights and universal rights and all of the things that Martin Luther King died for.
Oh yeah.
And other people in our society.
Abe Lincoln, JFK.
It goes on and on for centuries, and the fact that now we're at a point where there's no more need to have anyone being like crucified or or whatever, interrogated. The information that I'm sharing, even with this podcast that I'm doing, is universal.
Yeah.
So if somebody, I'm not afraid. Like, as the president of the United States, I'm running my campaign from this office here on Evolution Island off the coast of São Paulo, Brazil. I mean, that in itself is like so crazy. People would be like, what? This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But at the same time, it's reality. And I don't need the Secret Service. I don't need any service. I'm happy. I'm happy, comfortable. If I'm assassinated or taken out, I don't really care. I would rather die than live with stupidity.
Yeah.
And all sorts of dysfunctionalism. It's bullshit. I mean, and so I'm not worried. I'm not angry or anything. I'm not provoking people.
No.
I mean, I don't have any enemies like that I've actually identified like as an enemy. I know evil people, and I know evil intention. I've been around money, and huge yachts and private jets and all of the women and drugs and Las Vegas and in Tahoe and whatever. I know what it is, and I don't kind of subject myself to that or bow to it or whatever. I don't disrespect anything, whatever it is. There's always that the gratitude for whatever it is in my life. I don't reject anything, and so that's really the kind of ending today's taping.
Good. Yeah, I gotta wrap it up anyway. I got some stuff I gotta do.
Okay, Christopher. Thank you for anyone listening. Anyone have any questions? You can either go through Christopher or myself, David Ferdinand. And so, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You too, bro. Let me know when you go on next again, and I'll see what I can do.
Always going to be every day from 3 o'clock in the afternoon until 7 Eastern Standard Time. So it'd be noon yours until 4 o'clock, I think, from 12 noon to 4 o'clock.
Okay.
So you can jump on any day during that window. Okay.
Okay.
And anybody else listening to this recording can do that as well for the month of September. That is, in October we have to look at what the schedule is going to be, whether we're going to keep the 24/7, broadcasting and the whole program and what have you. But it's going to take shape as we go along. If we get people like yourself that basically take an hour in the calendar, before you know it, you get 15, 20 people that work together in cooperation. If it's 24 hours a day, you get 24 people, 1 hour every day. And in Jaira, the game's over at that point. So that's all we really need is the 24 people. I'm sure that there's a lot of podcasts out there with great content, related to all sorts of subjects. Any subject is on the table, and also comedy and poetry and just entertainment. You can have like a 1 hour show of just dancing, like an MTV or something. Doesn't have to be live, interviews and fact checking and kind of boring stuff. Actually, it could be arts and whatever, education workshops and training modules and whatever to help really inspire people in learning and trying to grow.
Yep, yeah.
All right, take care. Thanks so much. Have a good one.
You too. See you later, man.
Ciao.
And that was the conclusion of our show today. We will come back on sometime. Stay tuned for updates and all that. So we will hope you enjoyed the show today. Thank you.